The first photo was supposed to help my neighbor find someone else. Instead, by the time I lowered my camera, she was looking at me with tears in her eyes, and I realized I might have been the person she had been trying to find all along. I had spent 2 years convincing myself that love was something that happened to other people, something bright and easy that belonged in movies, wedding photographs, and dating app profiles. Then one quiet Saturday afternoon, Emily knocked on my apartment door holding a blue dress in one hand and a pair of heels in the other, asking me for a favor that would change both of our lives. And if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the possibility that one small moment can change everything, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps stories of hope reach the people who may need them most. My name is Daniel, and at 36, I had become very good at living a quiet life. I worked from home as a freelance photographer, which sounded more exciting than it really was. Most days, I photographed products for online stores, edited corporate headshots, and spent long hours staring at my computer screen in a small apartment that always felt too quiet. 2 years earlier, I had been engaged to a woman I thought I would spend my life with. Then, slowly and painfully, I learned that love can disappear long before someone finally says goodbye. When she left, she told me I deserved someone who could love me better. At the time, those words sounded kind. Later, they became the sentence I repeated whenever I considered letting anyone get close again. Maybe I was difficult to love. Maybe I was safer alone. Emily moved into the apartment next to mine 8 months after my engagement ended. She was 32, a nurse at the local hospital, and somehow managed to bring warmth into every hallway she walked through. She had curly brown hair that was usually tied up after long shifts, tired green eyes, and a laugh that made even the grumpiest people in our building smile. At first, we were simply neighbors. I helped her carry groceries when she came home exhausted. She watered my plants when I forgot. Sometimes she left soup outside my door when she knew I had spent too many nights working. I fixed the loose shelf in her kitchen, and she made fun of the fact that a professional photographer still owned a camera bag held together with tape. We never called it friendship at first. It was simply a collection of small kindnesses. A shared elevator ride. A late-night conversation in the hallway. Coffee on Sunday mornings. Yet somehow, those ordinary moments became the best part of my week. That frightened me more than I wanted to admit. The Saturday she knocked on my door, I opened it expecting a package delivery. Instead, Emily stood there looking nervous in a way I had never seen before. She explained that her best friend had convinced her to join a dating app, and now she needed photographs that did not look like they had been taken under hospital lights after a 12-hour shift. She had chosen me because I was the only photographer she trusted, then quickly added that I was also the only photographer she knew. I should have laughed. I should have been happy to help. Instead, something strange tightened inside my chest. The thought of taking pictures that might help another man notice her bothered me far more than it should have. But I smiled, picked up my camera, and told her to give me 10 minutes. We walked to the small park 3 blocks away. It was a bright afternoon, cool and clear, with soft clouds moving across the sky. Emily had changed into a simple blue dress and had left her hair down. I had seen her hundreds of times before, but something about the day made me see her differently. Not as the neighbor who borrowed sugar. Not as the woman who knocked on my wall when my music was too loud. Not even as my friend. I saw the person beneath all the ordinary moments, and suddenly I understood how dangerous loneliness could be. Sometimes it convinces you that your heart is empty when, in reality, you have simply been afraid to look at what is already inside it. At first, the photos were easy. Emily smiled near a row of flowers. She sat on a bench and laughed when I told her to stop posing like she was applying for a job at a toothpaste company. Then I asked her to forget about the camera for a moment. I told her to look toward the trees and think about something that made her genuinely happy. Her smile changed. It became softer. Realer. She looked almost peaceful. I lowered the camera and asked what she was thinking about. For several seconds, she said nothing. The park around us suddenly felt very still. Then she walked closer, looked directly at me, and quietly admitted that she had been thinking about how strange it was to search for someone on an app when the person who made her feel safest had been living next door the entire time. My heart began pounding so hard I could hear it. Emily looked embarrassed immediately afterward, as if she had said too much. She tried to laugh it away and told me to forget she had said anything. Then she glanced at the phone in her hand, where the unfinished dating profile was waiting, and told me she still needed one more good photo. I raised the camera, but my hands were no longer steady. That was when she smiled, stepped even closer, and said the words I would remember for the rest of my life. Forget the app. Take me out. For a moment, I did nothing. Not because I did not want to say yes, but because I was suddenly terrified of how much I did. The old fear returned. The fear that people leave. The fear that happiness is only the beginning of disappointment. The fear that if I reached for something beautiful, I would lose it. So I made the worst mistake possible. I told her I did not think I was ready. The light disappeared from her face so quickly that I wished I could take the words back before they had fully left my mouth. Emily nodded as though she understood, but I could see the disappointment she was trying to hide. She said it was fine. She said she had only been joking. Then she took her phone, thanked me for the photographs, and walked home alone. For the next week, we barely spoke. Our hallway became painfully quiet. I heard her leave for work in the mornings but did not open my door. I saw the light beneath her apartment door at night but stayed inside mine. The person who had become part of my daily life was suddenly only a few feet away, and yet I had never felt farther from her. I told myself I had done the right thing. She deserved someone who was certain. Someone who did not carry old heartbreak into every new possibility. But every day without her made one thing painfully clear: I was not protecting Emily from my past. I was allowing my past to steal something good from both of us. 3 days later, I saw her sitting alone on the front steps of our building after work. She still wore her hospital uniform. Her shoulders looked heavy, and for once, she did not notice me until I sat beside her. I learned that one of her patients, an elderly woman she had cared for months, had passed away that afternoon. Emily had spent years watching people lose time, health, and chances they believed they would always have. She told me that was why she hated waiting for life to begin. Those words broke something open inside me. I finally understood that healing did not mean becoming fearless. It meant choosing not to let fear make every decision. The next Saturday, I knocked on Emily's door. When she opened it, she looked surprised. I was holding the same camera I had carried to the park, but this time it was not for work. I had spent the entire morning preparing something. I told her I wanted to take her somewhere, not because I had suddenly become brave, but because I was tired of pretending fear was with